Firstly, what I want to make absolutely clear is I'm not religious. I'm not against abortion because I think it's immoral or because it offends me. I'm against abortion because it's a violation of another person's human rights. This isn't an emotional judgment. I'll hear SJW feminists tell me I shouldn't be able to have an opinion because I'm not a woman and I don't know what it's like to have a child. I would argue that if you're emotionally attached to a subject, you are not in the best position to form an opinion. It is a widely known fact that we cannot think rationally or logically when in an emotional state of mind. Whether I personally value the mother more than the child is absolutely irrelevant on whether it is considered murder. Most pro-choicers think people like myself value the child more than the mother. This is simply not true at all. My feelings have nothing to do with what I say in regards to politics. Like they would say I'm not compassionate enough. How would you know that? What makes you say I don't feel sorry for the mother? If she was raped, of course I will feel sorry for her, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still murder to abort a fetus. Facts don't change depending on my feelings. Now, this video is meant to expose any logical contradictions that the left bring up in defense of abortion. The first one is, you can't draw a line on when a human being begins to exist. Another version of this is, I don't draw a line on when a human being begins to exist. I'll hear this a lot when I bring up the fact that humans form at conception. The truth is, we all draw lines. What I find logically inconsistent is our definition of what a line is. What is a line? Well, it's a distinction between two separate variables. But what we ignore is the fact that we cannot be infinitely precise. Let's take the sand analogy for example. How many grains of sand would you then consider it a pile of sand? Most people would say they can't draw a line, but in fact they can. The reason for this is because we have an idea of what a pile of sand is. To explain what I mean, say I drew a line between the 30th and 31st grain of sand. People would say, oh yeah, that's a line, alright, that's very precise. Is it? What do you consider precise? Where exactly between the 30th and 31st grain? I haven't told you, because it's an approximation. What about 30.5 grains of sand? I don't know. My point is you can never be infinitely precise. You can always go smaller or deeper and more detailed. I haven't even told you at what exact size the grain must be. But since the variables in this context is not likely to be relevant, this is why people would describe it as precise. This is the reason I would argue that we all draw a line on when a human begins. I don't know at what exact millisecond of fertilization I will consider it a human. I cannot possibly be that precise. I have an understanding of what a human is, and such an idea would apply to any organism after human conception. This biological definition of human is logically and scientifically consistent and black and white in the sense that if X is true, Y is true. If X is not true, Y is not true. The reality that we can never be infinitely precise leads me to argue that pro-choicers also draw a line. It's just that their line is thicker than my line. They'll tell you that a newborn baby is definitely a human. But why? Out of any age, why pick a newborn? They have drawn a line covering the period between conception and birth. This is a line because it deals with two specific start and end variables. Nobody chose those specific variables besides yourself. Why not from conception to 2 years old? Why is newborn an epitome of a human? They can't logically answer this, yet they chose it anyway. So this begs the question, is the decision a logical decision, or is it based off other factors? It has to be one of either, otherwise they wouldn't have chose it in the first place. The reality is, if pro-choicers were 100% honest with you, they would tell you that their feelings are a factor, if not the only one. So saying life begins at conception is drawing a line, and somewhere between conception and birth is not drawing a line, is a logical contradiction. The next contradiction I want to bring up is the assertion that it is morally justified to kill a fetus because it doesn't feel pain. Well, you could easily say the same thing about killing someone in a coma. Any painless death of an adult is not okay. Oh, but not for a fetus, of course. What about the assertion that it's okay because the child would be sad or distressed to be adopted? Would you kill your dog because it would be sad or distressed to be adopted? Oh no, because that's different, right? What if you don't have the money to take care of the dog? Would you kill it? You see, I could go on for days easily refuting leftist logic, but I think you get the idea. Their whole quote-unquote logic is based off their current state of emotional connection. Anyway, this naturally brings us to the end of the video. I hope I made my points clear enough, and as always, thank you for listening.